Fear of the dark, and perhaps what lurks within, is one of our most primal instincts. But when the dead begun to writhe and feast on the living, and even our very sun turned against us, the darkness became our biggest ally. Luckily for me, when the infection took hold over 12 months ago, I was deep under the earth, protected from both the sun's deadly rays and the monsters that seemed even more powerful in its harsh glow. But now my supplies had run out, and it was time to venture out onto the surface. Could I navigate the sleeping hordes in darkness and avoid their relentless hunger at daybreak? The tunnel had collapsed, and I found myself trapped inside a large basement. The familiar damp air of the underground was heavy, and the reek of rats filled my dusty lungs. The warm glow of an old furnace was unfamiliar, yet pleasant after so long in darkness. Keen to witness what had become of the world, and with my trusty shovel in hand, I stepped out into the daylight. The sun instantly began searing my pale skin, so I swiftly ducked back into the safety of the building. Inside the garage, I found a heavily reinforced baseball bat. Clearly someone was surviving here. Perhaps they could tell me if the chaos was over, and the dead were no longer walking the streets. Oh my god. I quickly discovered that the world was still f***ed. But I did very quickly become a new homeowner. How kind of him to leave me all of his stuff. With some more protection from the sun and making use of the cloud cover, I quickly checked outside for more supplies. Luckily the previous owner had plenty of food and water to keep me going for now. After greeting my new neighbours, I checked the upper floors for anything useful to bring back to my basement dwelling, finding not much aside from a murdered corpse. Back safely underground, I organised my new belongings. And attempted some much needed pest control over the ever increasing swarm of rats that shared my home. This is teeming with rats. I've got to try and smack some. Yes. A quick visit from a door-to-door salesman interrupted my war against the rodents, and little did I know at the time, but this zombie played a pivotal role in my story. Back in the car garage, I discovered a large military backpack left by my friend on the floor. Then I sat and waited patiently for the fierce sun to set and the strange safety of night to begin. Now I could retrieve the water bottles, burn free, and prepare a much needed meal. Realising I couldn't get into my canned goods bare-handed, I tried medical shears, but then remembered the crude knife on the body upstairs. Finally satiated, I used my newfound energy on them bastard rats and rekindled the fire. Eager to make use of the darkness outside, I set off to the neighbouring trailer park to see what I could scavenge. But after a short fight, I swiftly retreated before getting overwhelmed. Fighting in the dark was a lot more difficult. Along the way back, I gave the two cars outside a quick try, but both were locked. Next on my list was to test the old generator outside, which worked great, but unfortunately didn't reach my basement and began drawing a lot of unwanted attention to my home. So after investigating the sheriff's car, that makes sense, I didn't even think about that, you can't go. It's broke. I switched it back off for now and dealt with the dead that the noise had attracted. Then inside the large shed, made a nice discovery that might come in handy making base improvements. Living nocturnally was taking its toll on my body. The night air was wet and bitter cold, so finding some more appropriate clothing was top of my list. Unfortunately, the local laundromat provided nothing useful. It seemed everyone here had died in the summer, as they were all in t-shirts. At least I found some long socks. Not much, but it was a start. In another small basement, I found something else that might keep me warm on these long, frosty nights. Taking what I could carry, I headed for home, clearing the way as I went. As I arranged my new cocktail bar, I decided it was time for me to find a proper bed, especially if I planned on drinking any of this. And I thought that it would be a simple process: find a bed and move it to the basement. Boy, was I wrong. After destroying both beds, I thought the sofas would do, so went to grab a saw. Came back and realised I'd grabbed the wrong saw, and went back again with the right saw. And broke the bloody thing anyway. Both of them. I'm cursed. I'm sleeping on the floor tonight. Defeated, for now, I returned underground, had a quick snack and explored the rest of the basement. Taking note of some floodlights I could use when I get the power sorted. Perhaps I could craft a bed of some sort, but I had none of the requirements. I quickly investigated some troubling noises upstairs, but found nothing physical. 24 hours after I found myself in this basement, I reluctantly curled up by the fire, hoping the creatures outside wouldn't find their way to my door. I awoke cold and cramped up from my time on the hard concrete, but my underground home had protected me from the horrors of the day. With the sun already setting, I ventured out to take care of any stragglers now that they had become less active. Why am I stuck in some... Nothing about that was sneaky. Oh, I think that's it for now. A small war later, and the area was cleared. I went to light the fire and prepare my food for the day. I then realised that I had a can opener in a bag outside this whole time. Completely missed that the first time. Oh, will you give it a rest? Oh, that was close. Man, these salespeople really are determined. Anyways, I took a great pleasure in using my shiny new can opener and took a moment to appreciate the life I was building. I was actually surviving, and things were only looking up from here. Or so I thought. My quest for a comfortable bed was still at hand, so I geared up and headed out into the night once more. Back in the trailer park, I of course found another can opener straight away, and enjoyed some interesting content on the TV. Milk. Oh wait, this one was a bull. Anyways, then, after failing every dismantle possible, I looted the zombies I had bonked earlier, finding some very useful items, such as more food, armour for my limbs, and a hatchet, so I could collect more firewood myself, before totally running away to prevent waking a sleeping horde. Oh. Luckily I'm here at night time, so they're a bit more relaxed. I'm in the day, I think I'd be dead already. I dropped my stuff and began working on a trap to help with my rodent problem. After all of that, I haven't learned the rest. No! Some of the horde from earlier had followed me home. Another successful night scavenging, I treated myself to some light reading before bedding down for a night on the cold, hard floor. When I woke, I was able to move some of the bodies outside due to the cloud cover. After the ambush, I found even more food tucked away inside, which would allow me to survive even longer in the safety of my basement. I returned to my routine of dismantling beds in the hope that eventually one wouldn't break, but was met with the same outcome every single time. Before I had the chance to become frustrated though, I was met with the harsh reality of my situation as zombies began pouring into the building.
Get up, man.
After narrowly avoiding being ripped apart, I was simply too exhausted to fight due to my poor sleeping situation, the very thing I was here to fix. I returned to base, but still wanting to make the most of the night, I headed back out, still exhausted, to the east in desperation for a usable bed. Once again, I found myself quickly becoming surrounded and still far too weak to fight. I thought about sleeping in the car, but with the fence broken and the windshield providing no protection from the sun, I feared I would wake up either cooked, eaten, or potentially both. And my night was far from over. Barely escaping with my life, I hid inside the bedroom, hoping to get a chance to catch my breath. I attempted to barricade the door, but then realised I could climb out onto the roof. And used the bathroom window to loop my way around the dead and scarper back to the safety of the basement. Desperately tired, starving hungry, and quite certainly emotionally disturbed, I patched myself up and went to sleep again on the floor. After last night's dire escape, I began the new day with a strong determination to claw my way to a better life. I had to get a working car and a suitable bed, or I might not last much longer. Jesus. No. I cleared all of the freaks around my home and attempted to start the sheriff's car. It seemed in good condition, but simply would not get running. My luck began to change, however, when I smashed my way into the blue pickup truck outside, which started right away and even had a good amount of fuel. I got straight to work exploring the areas which seemed too dangerous on foot, but very nearly got my new car stuck straight away. Clearly living underground for a year had affected my driving skill. Two more broken potential beds later, I tried my luck again at the trailer park. This was a bad idea. For some reason I thought smashing the trailer window was a smart move, and quickly learnt the error of my ways. Already I had lost my truck to the Walking Dead. In an attempt to make the best of a rough situation, I used the distraction my truck had caused to sneak around the back and into a new trailer. And finally... oh my god. Success! I wasted no time in bringing my hard-earned prize back to base, but nearly lost all hope when it wouldn't let me place it, trying every position until finally I realised it was due to one of the pieces being in my bag. Yes. My most painful task so far had been completed, and now I could sleep happy away from the cold floor and gnawing rats. And whilst I celebrated with a warm meal, I'm not sure which one is the best one. It was only 10. And a quick read, something had happened in the last few hours that would change the course of my whole story, and I hadn't even realised. The next day I awoke expecting to feel amazing, but something wasn't right. I couldn't linger on the feeling, however, as I had to press on. After dealing with the usual few zombies upstairs, their rotting stench seemed to have grown stronger, making my stomach churn. Nonetheless, I wanted to try and restore power to the basement, so went about moving the generator, only to find I did not possess the skills to reconnect it. And this scene really sums up how my journey was going so far, alone in the darkness. With the worst of the sun out of the way, I decided to make my stand and retake my truck from the horde that had surrounded it. And so, one by one, I smashed my way through the shambling horrors. Without even a moment to bandage my wounds, I had to keep swinging. Eventually though, I dealt the final blow and reclaimed my vehicle, the engine still running from the night before. Oh, we got the car back. Let's go. Put it in. I need to take care of those. Where did I put it? Okay. With it safely parked inside, I managed to take a few bites of food, but feeling quite unwell, swiftly collapsed into bed. When I awoke, however, the one fear I had been dreading became a reality. I was gripped tightly in a ferocious fever, slowly sapping away my health. What I thought had been a bit of light nausea from sleeping near the body on the stairs was actually a disease from the zombie that grabbed me the day I found the bed. In desperation and fear, I grabbed the nearest bottle from my bar and drank it down. Just like my dwindling fire, I felt the life I had left begin to slip away to the cold. But I wasn't going to just let it take me. I tore apart the shop in hopes of finding medicine, burning in the daylight as I went. And when that didn't work, I crawled my way back to the truck and sped off, not knowing where to turn. Crippled with sickness, blinded by the scorching sun, and barely able to hold the steering wheel, I floored it down the main road. And just like that, it was over. Faster than falling victim to the infection, but nonetheless, my twisted body began to spasm, and my rasping breath started to rattle again. I was now just one of them.